Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program RP-0. We are rejoining our next-gen Mars lander after many aero-braking passes around Mars to bring down its orbit and eventually gather itself and intercept with Harmonia Station, which after detaching some things or getting rid of that little supply pod has renamed itself to the Hab Mark II. So I'm going to have to go back and rename that again. Anyway, we are about to make our encounter, and we do have a very small burn of 94 meters per second to match velocities with our target. As it slips past render range, we fire up the engine and let that TWR do some work, and thanks to a misplaced keystroke, I shut the engine down. And Harmonia just goes whizzing past. Thankfully, we've got lots of torque, so we can turn that around right quick and try to get ourselves angled in so that we can make a nice approach for docking. It turned out to be kind of fortuitous, so that we can dock closer to our crew, or at least on a side of the station that has an open docking port that I'm pretty sure we won't run into a whole lot of trouble interfering with. So just to make sure we keep all of our thrusters firing, I'm going to unlock the last two probe core tanks on the bottom of the basket descent stage thing. And then start to go ahead and make our approach. Of course, folding the solar panels in because we really don't want to break those. We don't have any spares on hand. That would have required forethought and or planning, and you'll find none of that here. It's basically what we're getting at. So we have reset our target to our intended docking node and are starting to go ahead and clear in for final approach. Frame rate on this was difficult, so I've gone ahead and sped it up 4 times, which actually we're only yellow clocked, not red clocked. So this is actually functionally in only 2 times time acceleration when you compensate for the fantastic frame rates of KSP 1.1 Boomer. Anyway, so now we are on our actual in earnest approach, coming in a little hot, 1.2 meters per second, but I don't know, I had to live stream in like a few minutes, so I was really trying to hurry this along and get some things sped up so that we could get to all the things that I actually wanted to do on the live stream instead of watching me dock this thing for an hour and a half and then having to scurry off to bed. So this thing did not receive a thruster balance pass. That was some of the work that I really had lined up for myself to do, and then just never got around to it because, well, we went bankrupt and needed money and all kinds of distractions all the time. Although in its current descent-ready configuration and almost out of fuel, it seems relatively well balanced. Pivoting does cause a bit of a lurch forward, but that may just be the fact that thrusters for descent are angled for a descent mode and not really for docking. I do know that there is going to be a large problem with the thruster alignment on the ascent stage because it is just not a very well balanced craft, and we didn't want to include too many thrusters because it's going to just start consuming fuel like crazy on the way down, and we do have to be somewhat protective of that. So a little bit of nudge on the docking port has set Harmonia Station into a very slight spin. Again, you're watching it in sped up footage, so it always seems a lot more than it actually is. But a little bit of the time warp adjustment will fix that. And then reset our approach and hopefully pay a lot closer attention this time as we try to drift on in across multiple axes. So despite being pretty well balanced, I'm going to blame the frame rate this time and not my obvious lack of skill at docking any 2 things together in orbit ever, a skill which I am just destined never to master. Anytime I've done it well has purely been a function of luck and absolutely nothing else. So I apologize profusely for the 5.5 minutes of watching me scrape paint off docking ports If only you could hear the longest string of expletives ever about how bad at this I am. So another misaligned nudge has caused a little bit of a spin on Harmonia Station, but I'm not quite willing to give up on it yet. We're just going to brute force it, and then bang, docked. So we'll just enjoy that spin with them now. And this is about the point when we started the live stream, so we're switching into live stream footage now, where we were going to set about our grand plan of getting this uncrewed test run underway. So we have a few prep items that we need to take care of first. One is switching out the engine. We do have one spare engine on board that came up with the basket and the descent stage and ascent stage. We just need to switch that for the engine that's currently installed. It doesn't have a whole lot of runtime on it, but we want to stick to the standard operating procedure for how we're going to approach every use of this at least partially reusable craft. So we're going to EVA our engineer and get her out here to perform the world's first on-orbit engine swap. So that's the thing. We're also going to install some scientific equipment on the rover, just in case we happen to hit a new and unique biome, which of course is going to be our goal. But part of this test is to also get a good measurement for our downrange capabilities for targeted landings, and know about how much we need to compensate for, because at least our orbital entry speed will be close enough to the same that we can just call it a static variable. Everything else, however, we need to kind of observe and collect data on, because it was something I was just not very good at before. And look at me having some planning. Gave her a DeWalt cordless drill from the get-go, so we don't have to... we didn't really have to bring one, but I think we'll bring one up anyway, because getting caught needing to do repairs and not having the one tool you need to do them is absolutely tragic. And then after all the scientific stuff is installed, we will refuel and carry on. So go old me. All right, so here's something that we really should have tested for is, can we grab... Well, I know we can grab the engine, but if we can't hit that mount point from way down here... Too far, too far. That's not a good sign, because if we have to attach the new engine from inside the fairing... Okay. We can, in fact, grab it. And we'll just drop it out here. Please don't explode things. Yeah, you should bunk and start flying away. Catch it, catch it, catch it. Seriously, we can't surface attach this explosive charge to it, or are we just too far away? Target part does not allow surface attach. Oh, wait. Nope, that's drop. Well, let's escape on that. We're going to have to attach it to one of the nodes. Hopefully, if we can manage this. So please grab this floating chunk of debris. This is probably one of the more dangerous EVAs we've been on at Mars anyway. Real Smitty, thank you very much for the follow. Oh, come on. I don't think I can catch one of the nodes. We might just have to leave this thing. Or really, I wonder, can we drop the charge nearby? This is getting exceptionally stupid. I wonder if we can just punt the charge and hope that it stays close. Setup. Let's give it 30 seconds. Activate. Close and run the hell away. This will be a freaking miracle if it works. 20 seconds is going to take about 45 seconds in real time. This is a really stupid technique. There's an 86 slick top. Oh, okay. How you move... That's a good question. I don't know how we're going to move the new engine into position, to be real honest with you. I think that we might be able to grab the inventory from it from while inside the fairing, and then just position it And she starts drilling holes in your heat shield to bolt the engine to it. I hope that charge is within 10 meters. No, it's not. There's the charge. There's the engine. And if that's 10 meters, well, so be it. I should probably bring up your stats so that I can make sure we don't run you out of fuel. Yeah, there's that. I don't think that charge is going to work, y'all. I should have looked at the counter, but we are also coming in pretty close. Let's focus on the task at hand here. Is it AI-haw? A-haw? I don't know how to pronounce it. How's it going? What Houston has to say is about a free flight EVA around Mars. I mean, we probably killed comms just to make them not bother us, because we're busy and we got stuff to attend to. I think we're out of the blast radius. Let's wonder what they're going to say about us just throwing bricks of C4 at a drifting engine for disposal. Their opinion is invalid. They're not on site. Whoa! Whoa, yeah, and totally did not catch the engine in that blast, unfortunately. But we did not damage the station, so win? Definite win. Now we're going to head back to inside the basket, because it does look like we're going to have to perform the installation from inside basket in order to get a good vantage point and to be within range of our mount point for our new engine that is coming fresh out of the box to be installed. Now, silly me checked the inventory crate looking for an engine, not realizing that the engine is right there. Moved to the other side and took a good look at the rover. Turns out all the wheels in there are popped. I don't know when that happened, but that is going to be something we're going to have to try to account for in our next delivery of a descent stage. But then heading back to the correct side of the spacecraft, we will eventually grab ourselves an engine and start going about this historic repair. We're just out of range to just make the attachment clean and off on the first try. So I'm hoping that we can do this without blowing anything up. Technocracy, how's it going? Welcome back. Alright, and let's get ourselves into position to make this engine swap a thing. Realistic, like biplane cockpits in fairings in orbit. I think they fixed that by adding altitude caps to a lot of those cockpit parts. Yeah, a lot harder than stock is definitely... Oh no, come on. Tell me I have to move it out of the way first, or can I just clip the camera up enough to hit that node? Oh, come on, man. Yeah, this will work just fine. This is great. It's doing all the right things. Cannot not denode attach. Can we... Where can I put you to where you're out of the way and I can see what I'm doing? Because that's all I want to do. Ah! How many times can you detach and reattach an engine? I'm sorry, I am missing so many messages. I honestly, I love all the crazy workarounds that people come up with in RSS and RP-1. It makes me unreasonably happy. Yes! That is a successful engine swap. We hope. We had been warned that engine swapping in this manner might cause the engine to fail to activate, but the solution for this was a F5 and F9, so we will just kind of keep that in the back of our minds while we are getting the rest of these pre-flight or pre-deorbit procedures taken care of. We're still going to go ahead and install the scientific loadout. We did not intend on deploying the rover this run anyway, so the fact that it doesn't have any wheels really doesn't matter to us a whole hell of a lot. So we'll just make our 1 or 2 trips around, gathering up what bits that we can, in hopes that if we do hit a new and unique biome, we can gather up some science that might be useful to the space program, or at least give our onboard scientists something to do. So with all of that installed, we will button up the descent stage and begin the long and arduous process of fueling. This is something I probably should have done before the live stream started, but I did not think it was very realistic, I guess, to perform an engine swap on a full tank of fuel. I think a real space program, 1, would never find itself in this situation. 2, if it did, would be completely draining the tanks and possibly even running a non-reactive liquid into them to flush out remnants of super toxic fuels before you let somebody out there with a welder in a spacesuit. Yeah, we're kind of pushing the bounds on acceptability here. So we are going to leave most of the life support empty, which I know does throw off our weight and thus our descent and ascent characteristics a little bit, but generally this thing is only supposed to carry about 2 weeks of life support. It's just to give them enough time on the surface to wait for another solid launch window to Harmonia Station under the absolute worst conditions. That's why it comes with the rovers. We can land and then drive to the new mobile base almost immediately and leave the ascent stage parked and ready to go for whenever it's time for a crew cycle change. So now we go about the nice business of undocking and pulling ourselves away from Harmonia Station. We're going to use Mech Jeb landing guidance just to kind of pick a target zone. And then we're going to aim for it and see how badly we miss. So that'll give us at least some indication on how we're going to need to do our targeted landings in the very near future, hopefully, if all things about this test go extraordinarily well. So we will pull ourselves away from the station, get to our burn point, and then give this engine its very first test light, which actually goes perfectly. It lit on the first try, no need for an F5, F9. It performed absolutely flawlessly, and that makes me very, very, very excited. Now, initially, I thought that we were going to way, way undershoot our target. We picked a small volcano that was kind of in our orbital path, although not the one we crash landed next to last time. A different one. There it is. And my initial thoughts were that we were going to undershoot that by a lot. Turns out I was almost right. I did not make any accounts in my descent path for rotation of the planet Mars underneath us, so that is going to cause at least one discrepancy, and then, of course, downranging and the pretty decent amount of lift this thing can actually generate as it flies through the atmosphere. Now, I did go ahead and use physics warp for most of the descent as I was running short on time for the live stream, and I really, really, really wanted to get this thing on the ground one way or another. But when not in physics warp, this thing is actually pretty aerodynamically stable and just kind of stays put. In physics warp, we get all this wiggling and jostling and bouncing about, which does kind of screw up our descent model. Also looks really weird and makes it seem like this thing is even more of a pile of junk than it actually is. It has been tested for about the last 3 months straight, so I would hope that I got some kind of functionality out of the system. Anyway, we are coming into the last phases of our final descent here, so as we cross into the 30 or so kilometer mark, I will go ahead and turn you over to Old Me, who's going to go through the whole rest of this landing live, because, man, it was real stressful. All right, 14 kilometers down. 13, 14. Oh, good. The terrain is messing with 105.3, 1,300 meters per second. That is some pretty quality aerodynamics. This thing is cool and unnecessary. Yes. Well, thank you, Beastly Pig. 1,200? Our chute's green yet? Do we need to light this engine? Alright, lighting it up. At last, bit of braking. Before we come into this stupid situation, there's 10 kilometers. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, God, one of our cargo bays is weighing grossly more than the other one. I think we know which one now. 9.8. Where are our parachutes? Ah, here we go. Parachute deployment. There they are. Let's light this up to ease the stress on the frame. Ah, come on. Hold retro, please. All parachutes out. Gear out. There we go. Go full deploy. There it is. And primary's engine shut down. Whew. There's the stress on the airframe I was trying to avoid. But everything is still in one piece. We are all fully attached. 150 meters per second. 4 kilometers altitude. Very sorry, chat. I will be back with you momentarily. Here comes the part I completely forgot how to do. .6 kilometers up. What is this dangling off of stuff? Oh, we broke an antenna. That's not a good sign. I did forget to pull them in. Probably should have done that. Switching to standard stability assist. 2.8. Forgot the altitude at which we're supposed to fire the engine. I don't know, all the cargo pods, it's like a kilometer because they have to long burn all the way down, whereas we have lots of TWR to play with. Mars Midlands. Very good. First SSTO plane includes scramjets, period. Did you detonate a bomb on Venus to launch a crew vessel skywards? Probably. Alright, 1.3. Sorry, I have to go back to paying attention to this thing. Let's give this a kick. More of a kick. More of a kick. Come on, hold steady, baby. Come on, Sweet Pea. You can do it. 600 meters. Let's roll back that throttle. This is why we change engines every time. Okay, good. We can still accelerate downwards if we loosen the throttle a bit. 14.2, 500 meters. 14 all. Come on, sweetie. Nice and easy. Pick it up, pick it up. Pick it way up. 10, 9.5. Lean into it. 350 meter. Come on. Easy, easy now. 38, 300 meters. 4 meters down, struggling to maintain retrograde. Let's let it pick up a little speed. 275. Can we offset with thruster power? No, we cannot. 6-2 down, 240 meters. Ease into this, dude. Come on. You've never been this difficult to do before. 9 picking up speed. 150 meter. 8 down. Easy, sweetheart. 90 meters. 5.8 down. 50 meters. 4.4. Throttle up. 3.29. Come on, sweetie. Nice and gentle. 25 meters. Do not do this to me now! Come off that throttle just a little bit. 0.8. Do not go up. Do not go up. Do not go up. Touchdown. Oh my god, I'm sweating. Like I left wet marks on the keyboard. Jesus. Okay. And that's it. We did it. It's on the ground. It's safe. Nothing broke that wasn't already broken before. I can finally breathe again. I am so incredibly excited that the first half of this uncrewed actual test run went real well. I mean, a couple of very stressful seconds there towards the end, but for the most part, everything else went great. Unfortunately, we are in a biome that we have very much landed in before, so we will see nothing new coming off of any of this data, although we still will transfer it to the ascent stage just in case some of it hasn't been run through the laboratory before. Not a high chance of that being a possibility for as long as we've had a lab in orbit of Mars. So there's not any real chance we're going to make any real money off of this test, but it is really nice to know that it does work outside of the simulator also. So all's left to test is the ascent stage and launch to rendezvous, and then docking, which will obviously be very painful, but we will probably get to that in an episode or two, so fear not. But for now, let me just revel in this one small victory. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode, everyone. Thank you so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate it, and I will see all of you in the next one. So until then, see you later.